Good morning, everybody. What is going on? It's another episode of Seahawks Now. Today, we're talking about the NFL schedule. It's getting released today. Some rumors about that. Talking about looking ahead towards what is our biggest game of the season next year, plus more Trey Hendrickson rumors. I really think the Seahawks should call, and that's where we are going to start. But before we begin, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe down below for more future content. This is your home, your number one source for breaking Seahawks news, rumors, updates, all of the above. So now let's get into it. Trey Hendrickson. You know him. He's a great player. He's been the leader of the Cincinnati Bengals defense for a couple of seasons now. Statistically, one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. He's been doing it for, quite some time. But last year was probably his best season. When you really look at it, he led the league in sacks last year, 17 and a half. Not that was his career high. He actually matched his total from 2023, he also had 17 and a half sacks. His approximate value last year was 15, the highest of his career. He was an All-Pro for the first time in his career, second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He finished the season with 19 tackles for a loss. That was a career high for him. And also 36 quarterback hits, which was a career high, 9 more than his previous total in 2021 when he had 27 of those. For the past 5 years, really from 2020 with the Saints up until 2024 with the Bengals, the past 5 years, he has been one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. During that 5-year stretch, he started 78 games, so he's averaging 16 starts per season. He's come away with 70 and a half sacks, which is averaging 14 sacks per year. He's averaging 13 tackles for a loss per year. He's averaging 27 quarterback hits per year, and he is averaging 2 forced fumbles a year, 3 passes defended per year. So he's been absolutely incredible over these past 5 years. An approximate value, which is essentially 58. So he's averaging 10? He's averaging over 10 approximate value a year over the past 5 years. This guy's really, really good. I don't need to say it anymore. I mean, he's insane. Now, he is going to be 31 next year. That's a little bit of a pause for concern, but he's coming off the best season in his career. Hard to see him falling off of a cliff that quickly. What I do know is that he's a game changer. He's a game changer, but he only has 1 year left on his deal, and he says he's not going to play. He is telling the Bengals he is not going to play on his current deal. He wants a new contract, and they aren't giving him a new contract, right? We talked about it yesterday. At this point, it just looks like a really bad situation for him. The Bengals, they showed where their priorities are. They were willing to pay Jamar Chase. They were willing to pay big money for a wide receiver too when they gave T. Higgins over $100 million. I mean, T. Higgins. There's no world where Trey Hendrickson is not worth the money, but T. Higgins is. And that goes to show where the Bengals, their priorities are clearly not in line. You know whose team is in line with the bright priorities should be at least our Seattle Seahawks. They should understand, this kind of money we should pay for a guy like Trey Hendrickson, a guy who can literally be a game wrecker all on his own. Having Trey Hendrickson to rush the passer makes your team that much better. Yes, we have decent pass rushers. We have guys like Big Cat Williams. We have guys like Uchenna Nwosu. But if you can add Trey Hendrickson, that's a legitimate bona fide game record. He's up there with the likes of Chris Jones. He's up there with the likes of TJ Watt. He's up there with the likes of Nick and Joey Bosa. He's up there with the likes of Max Crosby. That is the type of player he is. There's only a handful of guys in the league who can do that, right? The Bosas, Max Crosby, TJ Watt, Chris Jones. Maybe you throw in Micah Parsons. But there's not that many guys in the league who can do that. Like probably 7 or 8 dudes. He's one of them. He's one of the best edge rushers in this entire NFL. And the fact that, there's a real chance you can go out and get this guy because, he clearly does not want to play. His comments yesterday, he said that it's actually become a personal thing with his head coach. Apparently, him and Zach Taylor had a really disappointing text exchange, and it just feels like this is really going downhill. And again, they chose to put their money in the wide receivers. They chose to put their money in the offense. Now they're saying they don't have the money to also pay Trey Hendrickson. He's been sounding off. He doesn't want to play. He knows his worth. Here's my suggestion for the Seahawks: trade for him and then give him a 3 or 4 year extension. I understand he's going to cost a lot of money. I don't care. He's that good of a player. When you have an opportunity to get a player of his caliber, of this level, a guy who can literally go out and average 10 sacks a year in his sleep, you get that player. I mean, it's not even a question. Teams spend years. The Seahawks have spent years trying to find a guy this good in the draft. They haven't found him yet. It's because they're very rare. Guys like this do not exist. They don't grow on trees. The fact that Trey Hendrickson could be an option, they have to go get him. They just have to. That's my take. All right, let's move on, though. I've talked too much about Trey Hendrickson today. We're talking about the NFL schedule rumors. Later today, we're going to find out exactly what the schedule looks like for Seattle. But the rumor is the Seahawks are going to be hosting the 49ers in week 1. Dave Softy Mahler on Seattle Sports, he kind of broke that news. It's just a rumor so far, not confirmed. We will know later today, later this afternoon, this evening. But yeah, the 49ers expected to open the season in Seattle. This will be the first time the 49ers have opened in Seattle since 2010, a game that the Seahawks won 31-6. I believe that was Matt Hasselbeck at quarterback against Colin Kaepernick. So, man, times have really changed. The 49ers, often they like to open their season on the road because San Francisco is really hot in September, and there's not very much shade in that stadium. So they like to not play home games, especially home games on Sunday during the day in September, just because they can minimize that heat. It's unclear how many primetime games the Seahawks are going to have, but this could be, probably not a primetime game, but it is a big divisional rivalry game. A lot of the times they do kind of put those Seahawks-Niners games on Sunday night or on a Monday night. It sounds like that's not the case. They don't mention that in these rumors. The 49ers, yeah, so they do get what they want. The Niners don't like to play early season at home, so they're going to get that road game, but they get to play it against a really tough divisional rival, a team that went 10-7 in the Seahawks last year. The 49ers and the Seahawks, it's going to be a big game, because neither team can afford to get off to a rough start, especially when, as good as they are, as good as both of these teams are, I think they both have good rosters, but the Rams are still kind of the top of this division. And so both of these teams need to prove, we can hang with the Rams, and that's going to start early on. Last year, the Seahawks and 49ers split. The Seahawks won the second game. The Niners won the first game. It should be a really interesting game, though. Really good way to open the season. It's also, by the way, a revenge game in some sense for Sam Darnold. Obviously, Sam Darnold started one game in San Francisco in Week 18 a couple of years ago. He was their backup quarterback. And a lot of people think that that's where he picked up the skills that allowed him to, become a Pro Bowler last year. People say he picked that up in San Francisco working with Kyle Shanahan, and that might be true. So we'll see how he does against his former coach and his former team. With that being said, I want to talk about looking ahead. What will the Seahawks' biggest game be next season, right? We don't know what the exact schedule is going to be, but we do know a lot of the teams that they are going to be playing against. We know they're going to be playing against the 49ers, the Rams, and the Cardinals, obviously. We also know that they're going to be playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a team that apparently rumored has it that will be our road opener, in fact, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That'll be against DK Metcalf. We know that against the AFC, we'll be playing the AFC South. So that means you're playing the Colts, you're playing the Texans, you're also playing the Titans and the Jaguars. Hopefully those games could be, maybe easier. That division has been not the greatest in years past. We also have to play the entire NFC South. So both South divisions this year. We got the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Falcons, and the Carolina Panthers. So those will be some good games as well. Personally, I love playing the NFC South because, again, normally seems like that division is not as good. So maybe some opportunities actually to pick up a couple of extra wins here and actually improve on those 10 wins from last year. The other games that they play, they have a game against the Vikings because both teams finished in second place last year, and also the Washington Commanders because both teams finished in second place last year. So that is the full schedule. That's who we play. Personally, I think our biggest game of the season, honestly, I do think it comes down to the Los Angeles Rams. And I am just, maybe that's just because last year how things went. Obviously, last year, these were the two teams that tied atop the division. we lost to them in overtime. If we had won that game, we would have won the division, as simple as that. So, yeah, I do think that it's going to be a big game once again. I think the Niners are going to be good again. I think they will kind of bounce back, but ultimately, I think this team, the Rams, as far as we know, the Rams right now are the top of this division. They're the cream of the crop. And so the Seahawks, if you want to get to the playoffs, the path to the playoffs starts by beating the Rams. So I would say the biggest game of the season probably will be at home against the Rams, because you have to at least split with them. On the road against the Rams would be a big one as well, but chances are you have a better chance to beat them in Seattle. With that all being said, that's going to wrap things up for today. Like I said, as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel below if you want more content, and leave a comment down below. What do you think the Seahawks' biggest game of the year will be in 2025? We'll see you tomorrow, and as always, until next time, go Seahawks.